Today's Chumash is it's very short. We're learning the story of Yitzchak. Okay, today is Wednesday, and we are holding the story in Parshas Toldos about Isaac. That, if you remember from yesterday's Chumash, it was a very big problem because the country, the city of Gerar, where they lived in, the Philistines, the Plishtim, were very jealous of them. Yitzchak was extremely wealthy. It was like the Bill Gates of his time, and they weren't so wealthy, and they started having a lot of fights. And they sent Yitzchak, the king told Yitzchak, you have to leave, you can't stay here, it's bringing up too much jealousy, it's not working out, you have to leave our country. And he moved out, and they continued to fight over wells. Finally, the third well, Rechoves, that he dug, they accepted, and they started living. And then he moves to Beersheba, to the city of Beersheba. Let me actually show you a map so you can see again. I have one more map here for you guys of what it looks like. So that is Hebron, which he started from. And then he traveled to Gerar, which is the city where the Philistines lived, which they got jealous of him and they kicked him out. Then he settled in the valley of Gerar nearby, where he finally dug the well of Rechovos. And finally now he's moving to a place called Beersheba. So we're going to learn about that in today's Chumash, what happened in that city of Beersheba. This is where Avram lives. You know, Avram traveled in that area also, in that vicinity. He went up from there to Beersheba. And God appears to him that night. I think this might be the first time, or maybe second time, that Hashem is appearing and speaking to Yitzchak. He says to Yitzchak, I am the God of your father. Al-Tira, don't be afraid. He's having all these problems. Every time he digs a well, they fill it up. Because I am with you. And I will bless you. For Beisi Azaracha, and I will make your offseed great. For the sake of Avram, my servant. So he's telling him, the sake of your father, he was such a faithful servant. Because of him, you have nothing to worry about. I'm going to take care of you. And after having this unbelievable revelation from Hashem, he builds over there an altar, Yikra b'shem Hashem, and he calls in the name of God, just like his father. So calling in the name of Hashem, and he pitches his tent over there. And they dig a well. Isaac's servants dig a well over there in that area. So they go and they dig a well, and now they're in Beersheba. They traveled further south from Gerar, from the valley of Gerar, and they get a well. They get this, as we explained in yesterday's class, that it was very important to have the source of life. Now, what happens is Avimelech knows that his friend, his neighbor, is traveling away further. He's going to Beersheba. Avimelech halach elav migrar. So Avimelech travels from Gerar. Bachuzas mere'ehu, and he has a group of his companions with him. Some of his companions, ufichal sartzvay, and he has his general fichal together with him. So he has some of his friends, some of his companions. As Rashi explains, he had many groups. He took some of the groups, and he took them with him to go meet with him. Yitzchak sees them. He says, why are you coming here? Why are you coming to me in Beersheba? You hate me. You sent me away. Didn't you kick me out? Avimelech told Yitzchak, you have to leave because you're too rich and everybody doesn't like it. He says, we have seen that God is with you. We see that God is with you. And everything you're doing is successful. You're digging these wells. Hashem is revealing himself to you. Whatever, I'm not sure what it is that he saw. Or he says, I saw in Avraham and I see in you. In other words, maybe they thought that God was with Abraham, but Isaac's already a child. We don't have to treat him this way. He says, no, I see in you and I see in your father and in you great holiness and success. And therefore, let's make a promise between us. Between us and you. We want to make a covenant with you. We want to make a peace treaty. We want to make a covenant because we see that Hashem is with you, and therefore we would like to have peace with you. If you don't do any bad to us, make a deal. You won't do anything bad to us. Just like we didn't hurt you. Even though I sent you away, I didn't hurt you. I didn't take your money away, or so on. I sent you away in peace. I said, you don't belong here, but I didn't hurt you. I told you have to go, but without hurting you. And just like we did with you, only good. And Yitzchak sent him away in peace. Ata Baruch Hashem. I'm sorry. just like we send you in peace and we didn't hurt you, we did only good for you. When you were with us, so too you do also with us and make peace with us, and not to do any bad. Let's move on to the first 3 or 4 verses here, because I believe that's just 3 more verses, because the next class is going to start from, I think, verse 32. So Yitzchak made a party, made a feast for them. They ate and they drank. And they got up the next morning, and they made that promise, that swearing that they wanted to make. Yitzchak sent them, and they left him in peace. It wasn't that day. On that same day after they sent him away with the peace, servants of Yitzchak came. They said, "Oh, we found another well that they dug." And they said, "We found water." So we know that it was a big event when they found water. It was a huge deal. Now, what just happened that day was a major part of history was made, and that there was this promise and swear deal made between these 2 parties, between the Avimelech, the king of the Plishtim, and Yitzchak. So they called the well a name, Shiva. They called it a swore, a promise. Hashem Ha'ir Be'er Sheva. The city is named, and the city there is named Be'er Sheva until this day, because it means an oath. So the well of the oath that was made over there, that happened on the same day that they ended up discovering a well. So that is the name that they gave for that landmark, for that well. And that, my friends, is the end of today's piece of Chumash. Any